Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a story that is, honestly, pretty staggering. We're looking at the 2026 NEET exam leak, a massive controversy that completely shook the core of India's medical education system. It's a fascinating but deeply concerning look at how supposedly airtight systems can be bypassed and the very real-world consequences that follow. So, picture this. It's May 2nd, 2026, literally the night before the huge medical entrance exam. An MBBS student in Kerala sends his father, who happens to run a PG hostel in Rajasthan, a file on WhatsApp, and attached to it is this exact chilling message: "These are the 300 questions coming in tomorrow's NEET exam." He tells his dad to share them with the students staying at the hostel. Now, initially, the father didn't act on it that night, but the next morning, he goes ahead and shares it with the aspiring doctors under his roof.
Now, what happens next is wild. After the exam wraps up, the father takes that forwarded document to a teacher at a local coaching institute just to verify it. And what they found was absolutely mind-blowing. Exactly 90 out of 90 biology questions matched perfectly. 45 out of 45 chemistry questions, perfect match. I mean, we're talking an unbroken sequence without a single comma out of place. In total, 135 out of the 180 questions on the actual exam were identical to that leaked paper.
To put that into perspective, this wasn't just some minor pop quiz. NEET is the ultimate gateway to becoming a doctor in India. So this leak directly impacted the futures, the hard work, and the dreams of over 2.2 million students. The magnitude of this breach was just undeniable, to the point where it forced the National Testing Agency to cancel the exam for the very first time in its entire history.
All right, Section 1, following the paper trail.
So how does something like this actually happen? According to our sources, tracing this highly secure paper's journey starts at an authorized printing press in Nashik, Maharashtra. And guys, this was not an amateur hour operation. To evade detection, the perpetrators didn't just casually snap photos with an iPhone. No, they used sophisticated tech, specifically a high-definition portable scanner. And even crazier, they set up a whole shadow server on the outskirts of Nashik. Their entire goal was to meticulously transfer the data while completely dodging standard digital monitoring systems. The commercialization of this leak is where it gets staggering. The price tag basically skyrocketed as it moved from state to state. A medical student in Nashik reportedly bought the physical copy for 1 lakh rupees. He then converted it into a soft copy and flipped it in Gurgaon for 15 lakhs. But here's where it gets really clever. To avoid suspicion, a doctor in Gurgaon mixed 120 of the real questions into this massive 410-question mock test, disguising the whole thing as a guess paper. Fast forward to a week before the exam, on April 26th, and this inflated guest paper is sold to 2 men in Rajasthan, the Bigwal brothers, for a whopping 30 lakh rupees. By late April, the paper had trickled down to an agent in Sakar, who bought it for 5 lakhs. This one single agent then turned around and sold it to roughly 700 different students. And here's the ultimate twist of fate. One of those students who bought it was the exact same Kerala MBS student we mentioned at the very beginning, completely looping the entire syndicate back to the father, who ultimately discovered the truth. Which brings us to Section 2, uncovering the scale. The timeline of how authorities reacted when this all came to light is deeply frustrating. So, when the father first tried to file a complaint at the local police station in early May, he was totally dismissed. They basically told him, hey, stop spreading rumors. But he persisted, right? He directly contacted the NTA, which finally alerted Central Intelligence, bringing in the State Special Operations Group, or SOG. When the SOG actually looked at the WhatsApp messages containing that guest paper, they saw the tag forwarded many times. That's when they realized this wasn't some last-minute breach. This paper had been circulating for a week and in some cases up to a full month before the exam. Finally, backed into a corner, the NTA officially canceled the exam on May 12th.
Moving on to Section 3, Allegations and Denials.
As the investigation widened, a really complex web of political allegations emerged. The source material outlined some very serious claims surrounding the buyers of the paper, specifically Dinesh Bibal. According to the reporting, Bibal is affiliated with a political youth wing, and social media hoardings even label him a district minister. The source mutually points out photos of him with prominent state figures, including Rajasthan's education minister. Further, the source claims these buyers knew about the leak a full month in advance, which points to a highly planned operation, not just a crime of opportunity. And adding fuel to the fire, the source notes that 4 children from their family successfully cleared the NEET exam just the previous year. And here's where the story gets really tangled up in contradictions, at the absolute highest levels. On one hand, you have investigating agencies confirming a massive, multi-state leak that had been circulating for weeks. But on the other hand, the NTA Director General publicly claimed that no paper actually leaked. Well, how does that work? He essentially argued that because a PDF was circulating that had matching questions, but not all 180 questions were compromised, it didn't technically constitute a full paper leak. Yeah, semantics. On top of that, you have a literal state-level blame game going on. Authorities in Rajasthan publicly point to Nashik, Maharashtra, saying that's the clear epicenter of the breach. In direct response, the Nashik Deputy Commissioner of Police comes out and states that these rumors are entirely baseless and that the paper wasn't even printed there. So you're left with this constant pointing of fingers, completely obscuring the truth, while millions of students are just stuck waiting for answers.
But perhaps the most tragic part of all of this, we've basically seen this movie before. The source highlights how this systemic failure perfectly mirrors the events of 2024. Just 2 years prior, similar leaks happened. There were all these unexplained grace marks given to candidates, leading to a statistically impossible anomaly where 67 students scored a perfect 720 out of 720. That whole incident sparked massive protests, Supreme Court involvement, and a CBI inquiry. And yet, as the source points out, it resulted in absolutely zero structural reform or accountability for the testing agencies.
Section 4. The toll on students. Let's step back from the investigations and the political blame game for a second, because we really need to look at the victims here. The honest students. For the millions of legitimate candidates out there, the cancellation and the mandate for a re-exam is just devastating. It means reliving the exhaustion, reliving the severe anxiety. It means extending the immense financial burden placed on families who shelled out for high-stakes coaching. These students sacrifice their social lives and their mental health for an entire year, only to have all of that hard work erased just because a select few decided to bypass the system with cash.
When you're dealing with a broken system, it's so easy to feel completely helpless. But to combat that, the source offers a really powerful mindset shift. It advises students to focus on building genuine capability rather than blindly chasing a flawed metric of success. Essentially, study to be capable, not just successful. Don't just chase the exam score, pursue excellence in your actual knowledge and skills, and success will naturally follow.
Practically speaking, this means not putting all your eggs in one basket. To avoid risking your entire future on a single, vulnerable exam, the source highly recommends establishing a Plan B or even a Plan C. There are incredible, high-growth careers out there today that don't rely on a single entrance test. We're talking fields like data science, UI/UX design, climate research, and sports analytics. In fact, the source mentions a dedicated guide exploring over 100 alternative career paths, really emphasizing how crucial it is for students to discover their true passions outside that traditional doctor or engineer binary. So as you guys explore your own alternative paths forward and focus on building your true capabilities, we want to leave you with this really pressing question regarding the integrity of these massive national institutions. Will this unprecedented cancellation finally force the system to undergo true structural reform? Or, just like in 2024, is history simply doomed to repeat itself? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.